Welcome, and thank you so much for your patience while we're getting the technical difficulties sorted. My name is Amina Evans, and welcome to day 2 of the Early Years Spanish and Stage Conference. Today, we're hosted by Heartland International School. A huge thank you to yesterday to our friends at GEMS Founders for such an amazing day of learning. We had over 450 delegates yesterday tune in, which is absolutely remarkable. I hope you've had a good night's sleep and you're all ready for the busy day ahead. Today we've got colleagues from all around the Middle East, Hong Kong and Germany too. So I'm going to start the conference today. We're passing over to our principal of Heartland, Mrs. Fiona Cotton.
Good morning, everybody. I can see myself on screen, an image of me, which is not always the best thing to wake up to in the morning, as opposed to being able to see myself, as it were. But welcome from all of us. Welcome from Heartland International School. Can I also begin with a huge thank you to GEMS Founders School yesterday for the incredible work that was done yesterday, and all of the tips that were shared and the experiences and the expertise. A particular thanks also to BSME. I'm sure that you will all agree that over the last 12 months, the early years network that has been developed and has grown and gone from strength to strength has really been something that has kept early years teaching in our schools informed and very much alive, even through incredibly difficult times. And it really is down to the network of BSME schools and partner schools and those that work with us that has made that such a strength. So particular thanks, as I said, to BSME. When Amina asked me just to say good morning today, she sent me an email, and in the email she suggested a few things that I might talk about, and she obviously said, well, talk about Heartland, and that was the easy one to deal with. We're in our 6th year of operation, we're a growing school, and like many schools, we're pyramidal in shape. So the fantastic part about it is that that early years section of the school is actually the largest part of the school in many ways. She then said, well, tell us why it's so important. And it's very interesting for me as a school principal, leading my first all-through school, to have suddenly become very aware of the intricacies that exist in early years teaching. Certainly I go down there every day. I went through a phase where I called the kids at that part of the school the Triffids, because they had this habit of hugging you every time you went down. And of course, the last year has been far more difficult, and that certainly hasn't been happening. But it's such a warm part of the school in terms of the energy and the vibrancy. And really, I commend everybody who teaches in those lower parts of the school, because I think their job is extraordinarily difficult and challenging, particularly in these times where we're confining ourselves to small groups of 10 in the little bubbles that we have them. But it's still such a vibrant and exciting part of the school to go into every day. And it really genuinely does bring joy to everybody's face when they go there and they see what's taking place in that part of the school. But it really only is in the last 5 years that I think I've truly understood what it is that happens in the early part of the school. And it really is something that we need to reflect on, and throughout the rest of the school, we need to learn and build on. And certainly the journey that we're now considering is, when we have an 18-year-old that comes out at the end of the system, what do we need the beginning of the system to look like to make sure that we get to the end result that perhaps we need? And it's only through excellent teaching and excellent provision in the early part of the school that we really do build those foundations, that we really do make sure that we set the journey right for children as they go through their educational life. The final point that Amina said to me was, can you please tell them why early years teachers are the best, and etc. And I guess you guys are, those of you who teach in that part of the school. I take my hat off to you every day. I think you're extraordinary. It terrifies me at times when I go down and I see that flexibility in learning, and it doesn't feel as controlled as it might be if I was sitting with a GCSE class. And I think it's just wonderful. I get drawn in so much into what happens in that part of the school by the excellence of the teaching that takes place. And I'm sure it's the same in all of your schools as well. So if your secondary school staff don't pop down and say hello, particularly in a through school in the early years, you need to make sure that they do go down, because they would learn so much. I know that today's schedule is incredible, with Jude and others who will share just such incredible skills with you, I hope, that you will then take into your practice over the course of the weeks and the months ahead. Delighted that Heartland are part of this journey. I commend Amina, particularly in her team, the work that she has done in leading this early years network, particularly during the last few months. And again, as I said, thanks to GEMS founders for yesterday and to BSME for hosting this event. So I was going to say sit back and relax. Don't. Sit back, make sure that your ears are buzzing, making sure that you take note of absolutely everything that's said over the course of today, because I'm sure it'll be wonderful. But do have a great day, everybody, and enjoy.
Thank you so much, Fiona. So today I wanted to go through with you the plan. So today I want to rename our day the Super Sharing Saturday. Instead of day 2 of the conference. Now, you may have seen me before. My name is Amina Evans, and I'm the BSME Early Years Network Lead. I'm also the Head of Foundation at Heartland as well. And since March, we have been organising various webinars, various discussions, and meetups to really help each other through these difficult times. Now, what I want us to do is we have on your programme, you have all your Zoom links, so you're ready to go. So I wanted to go through with you just the plan for today. So all of the Zoom live sessions are on this link, and fingers crossed it will all work really well. If at any point things don't work out, please just let me know and we can resend you the link. Now today we have myself talking about our Heartland Inspiring Environment. And then we've got a short break. At 10 o'clock, you've got your recorded workshops. We've got some fantastic workshops for you today. We have the British School Akabariat in Abu Dhabi. They're going to be talking to us about the transition from early years to Key Stage 1 and their journey. We've got Greg Bottrell talking about the Beauty of Play projects. And we've also got Nipa Bhutani. And now you may remember Nipa. She came and did a wonderful presentation to us in one of our workshops last year. And she's talking about those positive behaviour managements in the early years. We're letting you have another break. And then at 11:15, we've got our live keynote speak from Jutwani, and I'm so excited about this. There's another break at 1 o'clock, and then we have the last of our workshops. So we've got Rob Eastman, and he's going to be talking about how we can bring parents in to the learning conversation. We then have Karen Widing, who's talking about maths and how mark making matters in maths, which is so important. And then one of my favourite titles is Shake, Rattle, Roll, and you have to say it that way. And that's with Jude again, talking about how you can develop the music provision in the early childhood classroom. And then at the end of the day, we're going to come back to me for our live reflection and next steps planning. So it sounds like a busy day. Now, you can see on your page our Padlet link, a QR code. And what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks is been adding videos, been adding links, been adding pictures, been adding articles, things that I found really useful. And I thought actually it'd be brilliant if you could help me throughout the course of today and to add any nuggets of information that you have. So it could be from the workshops that you watch, it could be from the keynote speakers, or it could be something that you found and you thought, I have to share this, like this is fantastic. And this is the platform that I want us to use. So you can add anything onto there, you can add any questions at all. And so what you need to do with your phone now, just with your phone, just take a picture of the QR card. Very simple, or look at the link below, and that will take you straight to the Padlet page, and you can see some things that we've added on already. I've added some things from yesterday from Greg's keynote speech as well. So please, please, please use that over the course of today to add anything that you found really interesting. It could be a quote that was, really resonant to you. Or it could be a website that you've used. It could be a photo of your own environment you're so proud of, because today is about us sharing that great practice. And that's so important. If you have any questions at all, please add it onto the Zoom chat. And we've got Olivia here from BSME, and she's going to be going through the Zoom chat for me while I'm live and presenting. So any questions at all, please do let us know, and we will answer those throughout the course of today. So now we're going to move over to Heartland. And I think it's really important for us to share that great practice. And one of my favourite things that I like to do is to Magpie, to go around different settings, to look at the environments and to gain those ideas. And last year, when we had the network, we actually went round the environments and we walked around as a team And it was fantastic to really look at the environments, to ask those questions. So today, we're going to do a virtual tour, a virtual magpie of the Heartland environment. And I do hope you enjoy it. Now, I think one of the biggest things that you need to start thinking about is your classroom. Now, how you lay out and resource your classroom is so important because it has a huge impact on how the children learn. You have to ask yourself those how and why questions. The environment is essential, and children should be given the opportunity to decide the hows, the wheres, and by whom they learn with. It's really important that a well-planned and high-quality environment, both inside and out, informs us how those young children learn, what they actually like, what do they need, and how can we empower those children to have that sense of belonging and actually for them to progress and achieve. I really think that a carefully planned space really promotes high engagement. And that's something that we're going to be looking through today. So looking at those quality learning environments. So what I'm going to do now, hopefully if this works, I'm going to play you a video and it's 17 minutes long. And what I did is I asked my early years team and I asked them to think about an area for them that's really made a difference. What have they changed since coming back post-COVID in September? And what impact has it had on the children's learning? So we have 4 different classrooms we're going to be showcasing with you today. And those teachers are so proud of their environment. So hopefully this will give you a little sense as if you're really there and we can make up for the fact that we're virtual. So let's try this.
Hello and welcome. My name's Amina Evans and I'm the Head of Early Years here at Heartland International School. Our staff are so thrilled that you're going to join us today on our virtual learning tour of our early years environment. You'll have a look at some of these areas that our staff feel have been really important in the development of the children, especially during these difficult times post-COVID. So sit back and relax and enjoy the tour.
Hello, my name is Charlotte Jones. I'm an FS2 teacher here at Heartland and I'm also phonics lead. And welcome to my classroom. So here we have our writing display, which really celebrates all of the writing that we've been doing around the classroom. And we also like to do a name writing and a self-portrait. And these we add to throughout the year, so we keep them up and we put the most recent at the front. So if anyone came along and they wanted to have a look at the progress, they'd be able to look behind and see the old name from September, December, and see the newer one on top. So we repeat this every half term so we can see progress in writing names and self-portraits. Each child has their own little block, and then we also have celebrations of all different genres that we've been writing about. So if we take a closer look at one of these, we have a child's name and self-portrait in September, and as you can see here, very early mark making, not really any awareness of letters, and this was the child's self-portrait of himself. And then if we fast forward to November, you can see the progress here with letters, and then with the self-portrait we've actually got bodies, heads and legs. So we will repeat this again in February and again April, June, and it will give us a really good, nice overview of the child's writing, mark making progress. Okay, so this is our writing area, and we wanted to create a space specifically for writing where children feel they can get anything out that they want and really increase their independence in writing. So we've got all different styles of paper and card. We've got all different types of writing utensils here, and we wanted the children to understand about different genres. So we've talked a lot about invitations, postcards, letters, cards, lists, recipes, recipes, lots and lots of different genres that they can do. And then whatever they produce in here, we celebrate really well, bring up their confidence in writing, and then we display it on this area. And the children are really proud to have their work up here as well. We have the sound mats out for supporting independence in the diagraphs and the sounds. And then we also have a tricky word box where the children know that if they're stuck with a tricky word, they can come and find it, and they can use it to aid them write the tricky word there. We also have a busy box where the children can get out all different writing frames, anything that might support them to produce some amazing stuff. And we're really proud of our writing in FS2, and the children really enjoy it.
Hi everybody, my name is Maureen Cashman. I am FS1 lead here at Heartland International School, and today I've chosen to show you my literacy area, or my mark making area in my classroom. I'm not sure about you and your setup in your FS classrooms due to restrictions for COVID, but we have our classes divided and there's two bubbles, and what I found is that we have a lot of resources, extra resources in our classroom, because we have basically set up two classrooms instead of one. And I wanted to create as much space as possible in my classroom, and I guess as much tabletop space. And this was a new project of mine that I decided to create. So I had an idea in my head, and then of course you just Google the writing areas and ideas. And I remember sending a picture to Amina Evans, our head of foundation stage, and I said, can I do this? And she just messaged back and said yes. So we have a wonderful carpenter in our school who created this really nice mark making area for me. And what I love about it is that it's very clear for the children, and it's very easily accessible. So we've created different boxes where I can put in different resources into each of the boxes. So you can see clearly here it's labelled, and there's lots of different activities for the children to explore. Each year I think you find that your FS classrooms have an interest in different things, and this year my children are really interested in mark making and cutting and painting. So I have some writing activities, paper, colouring and cutting. They're really into colouring and they request lots of different colouring sheets, so I just put a bank of resources in here that they can use throughout the day. There are markers, little clipboards if they want to move around to different areas and bring mark making into the construction area or the kitchen area. Really nice whiteboard for the ground, which is really good for the children for their gross motor development, so they can actually lie on their tummies and they can mark make here. And we have our blackboard or our whiteboard on the other side, just creating different opportunities for the children to mark make. And I think over here, this is one of the favourites for the children. It's just some sand and they use paintbrushes to create different patterns, and under here I have different patterns that they can copy and trace. So I hope you like my mark making or my literacy station as much as I do.
I'm Laura Ederington. I am the FS2 leader at Heartland International School and also an FS2 teacher. This is my classroom, so welcome. I also lead on maths across foundation stage, so today I'm just going to show you our environment for maths, what it looks like in an FS2 classroom. So as you can see, there's lots of different areas in the classroom that children can explore maths. We have maths in all areas across the classroom, but my children really love exploring number and shape, so we have a specific area for the children to access this. This also helps when we're doing our focus adult tasks. So as you can see in the environment, there's stories. We do a lot of maths through stories, so following children's interest with books and seeing what we can use in the stories to help the children with maths, with counting, spotting shapes, and really putting that into context. So we also always have some books in the environment in the maths area for the children to explore. So for example, our number of the week this week is the number 10. So my maths area is set up to explore the number 10. So we've got books which show the number 10. We've got 10 frames, different resources. We really like to use natural resources at Heartland. So natural resources to count, a variety of different ones that the children can explore. And we've got 10 frames, we've got Numicon, number blocks, and also this is like a self-selective maths area, so the children can choose different resources. So there's number songs that the children have got props and 10 frames to pull out, and they can sing the number rhymes that we've been learning in class to apply that knowledge during the child independent play. Maya, do you like maths?
Yeah.
Why do you like maths?
Because it's so cool.
Because it's so cool, fantastic. And what do you like doing in maths?
Counting.
You like to count. What do you use to count in school?
Shell.
You like to use shells to count. And what's this, Maya? A 5 frame. Can you show me what happens when we have 5 on a 5 frame? Wow. What's happened, Maya? It's 5. How do you know it's 5? Because it's full. Fantastic, good girl. Lucas, can you tell me what our number of the day is today?
10.
Can you show me 10? Wow, who's that?
Number block 10.
Number block 10. Can you find another way to make 10 from our number blocks? How else could we make 10?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Good. How could we make 10 from 9? Which number block do I need to add to make 10?
Number.
Good. Can you put it on? Fantastic. Can you tell me your number sentence? 9.
1 equals 10.
Fantastic. One of the things that we love to celebrate at Heartland is the children's learning journey, their process of learning. So for maths across the whole of foundation stage, when you walk into a classroom, you will see a maths display, and they all look different, and the teachers all have their own quirks and the way that they set it out, but basically it's a week by week guide of the maths journey in foundation stage in that class. So as you can see, mine's labelled for the half term, and week by week we update it with children's work, the learning that we've done. We have the key vocabulary, the learning objectives, so that anybody that comes in can see the progress that happens throughout the term and what the children have been learning. The children love to see their pictures on the wall, and it's a really good way for the children to reflect on what they've been learning. So for example, once the work's up there, I then might ask a child, what were you doing here? What did we learn? The children can then reflect on their learning. So we have child voice on the display, we have key questions, and the pictures usually show a journey. So how we started at the start of the week, where we introduced the number. So for example, last week it was exploring the numbers 9 and 10. So it started off with building the numbers, finding the numbers in different ways, and finally going on to beginning to explore number bonds to 10. So it just shows the journey that the children have taken over the week. And then at the end of the term, we put all of the work into a book that then goes into our book corner that the children can explore in their independent play to just reflect on the learning that they've done in the prior term. We also share it with parents, so parents can see what we've been learning. So that's our maths board. Obviously it's only half filled because we're halfway through the term, but it's just really a journey of maths throughout the term, and we find that really beneficial and really helpful for the children, and also for other adults coming into the room to see the maths that takes place in foundation stage. So as part of our learning for maths in foundation stage at Heartland, we use the White Rose scheme just to support us with our planning, and it has some really good ideas for the environment and how to enhance maths within the environment. one of the things we're so lucky for is to have an outdoor environment outside every foundation classroom. So we try and really enhance the maths in this area. So this is part of my maths area outdoors. We really try and focus on shape, space and measure outside, because I think outdoors has so many opportunities for that. We do a lot of number in the classroom, and then shape, space and measure is within our whole environment as well. So for example, we've been doing some work on ordering by size. We've got different resources with size. We've got opportunities for the children to explore weight and time and measure. Over here we've got the dinosaur bones and measuring the dinosaur bones, which the children just love. They're really interested in dinosaurs, particularly my class this year. So we've got different measures, ways to measure, and then we just have other things to enhance the area. Obviously in the water we've got capacity, and I just find the outdoor space amazing to really support the learning in maths.
Hi, and welcome to my classroom. I'm thrilled to have you here today to have a look around and see what goes on in this environment. This is our birthday documentation, where the child who's celebrating his birthday gets to choose another child or two children to be on the committee, we call the birthday committee, and they receive a blank canvas, and children need to brainstorm and collaborate together on what they would like to paint. So the colors that they'll need, the thickness of the paintbrushes, the strokes that they'll be using, and then at the end of the day, the child who is celebrating his birthday will showcase it to the other children while we put it up on our birthday display board. This table here is easy accessible for many children to explore. There's a big use of natural resources. So there are shells, there's tactile numbers, and so the children can be exploring using numbers in different ways, and lots of collaboration and communication is taking place at this particular table. Okay, this is a writing table where children can explore mark making. They're encouraged to make different lines, and they are also have the opportunity to place the markers in the right order. So it shows respect for the environment and in a neat, beautiful display. And children take pride in cleaning up and making sure that everything is placed in the right order. The overhead projector is another fabulous tool that I love to use in the classroom. Children collaborate here, they exchange ideas, they explore with shadows and size. They can lift the light up and down and wonder what happens when that occurs. It is a wonderful tool for PSCD, for maths, communication, and language, and it's just a wonderful experience for children who seem to be drawn to the light. So this is an area where children can explore making different numbers. Again, it's lots of resources, so it's giving them a variety of choice of what they'd like to explore with. There's a number book, so lots of opportunities for mark making. Again, there's lots of collaboration here, lots of opportunities to build relationships, collaborate, exploring through play, and offering open-ended experiences for the children. Thank you for visiting my class, and I do hope you enjoyed the tour. If I can just leave you off on a quote from Loris Malaguzzi: "What children learn does not follow as an automatic result from what is taught. Rather, it is a large part due to the children's own doing as a consequence of their activities and our resources." Thank you again, and bye for now.
Thank you so much for that. I'm just going to move back over to my presentation screen. Okay, so you've had our virtual tour of Heartland, and I hope you got a glimpse into the foundation stage environment that we're so proud of. Now, for us, it's important, as you saw in the video, materials and resourcing, and mixing it up. Now, a good mix of natural resources and man-made resources where possible is really important. Now, I was in the camp, and I'm sure a lot of you were, that plastic wasn't fantastic. But actually, you know, with COVID times in, we've had to bring back some of that plastic resourcing to help with sanitisation purposes. But actually, as you can see in some of the videos and the pictures here, that mix is really important. And that adds breadth and depth to children's experiences. When we're providing children with that broad range of resources, we make sure we don't have too much of the same. Now, yesterday, Greg was talking about that virtual dinner party, going on that tour of your environment and making sure that you don't have 12 buckets. And that's the same, you know, it's really important for us to think about how many resources we have. Because what we want to do is we want to encourage social skills. We want to promote that patience, that turn taking, the sharing, negotiating. So actually, if I've got the tall spoon and I'd like the small spoon, we've got to wait and take turns. Cooperating and actually problem solving together. If you want something, how can you work together to try and make it work for both of you? I think for us, it's really important that we join those dots. Join the dots up in learning is so important because children need to make those connections. They need to apply those skills and that knowledge and understanding across all areas of their life. So in the classroom, they need to be doing the same. They need to make sure that that classroom interlinks really carefully together. So you can see on the tough tray on the right, there's opportunities there for maths, the literacy, for the communication and language, understanding the world, all within one area. And I think this really leads to more relevant learning, and the children gain a better understanding of a concept and actually how they can use that in real life experiences. And that's the key. Now, for us, it's really important that we're encouraging independence. So actually, when you're looking at your environment and how you're going to create your environment, how can you ensure that it's creating and encouraging independence? So you need to have a look whether it's well-resourced, it's clearly labelled, have you got pictures and words to support the children, and making it easy for the children. I love Netflix and I'm a fan of Marie Kondo, and I actually go into a room and it has to bring me joy. Every area has to bring me joy. It has to bring those children joy because it has to be purposeful and meaningful. We're in that classroom with the children all day, and that's so important that we really think about the environment. For us, it's about the words, and that's really important. So both inside and outside your environment, it needs to be literacy rich. We want the children to be able to read, to make those marks, to write, to experiment with letters and words. And as well as in the mark making areas, it's really important that you have opportunities for writing, for mark making in all areas. And it's quite interesting because when you're in the writing area, the children we feel are most engaged actually not in that writing area, but actually within all the areas of the classroom. So it's actually looking at that one space and how you can actually incorporate it into every area. For us, it's important not to be precious. Now, I know as a teacher, we spend all of our weekends looking for resources, making resources, preparing resources, and so excited when we get into that classroom and we build that amazing environment and then the children come in. And actually it should be the other way around. The children should be involved in that process of designing, of setting up, of creating, because it's their environment. They're the ones going to be using it. So they know best. And you have to give that ownership back to the children. You need to give them the responsibility. And then that will actually in turn help them to look after the environment and give them that sense of pride. And that's so, so important. One of the things that we like to do is get the children involved. So the children are involved in all areas. So in the mark making area, the children use their writing to help make labels. So you may see in the picture here, there's a little sign and it says, "Do not climb up." And when the children make those labels, they make those signs, it gives them real purpose to their writing. And that's so, so key for us. One of the other things that we like to look at is open-ended resources. And you saw in a video lots of natural resources, and natural resources really lend themselves to be open-ended. We want the children to make their own choices. We want them to express their creativity, and we want to support their own independence. So by having an open-ended material, something doesn't have a predetermined use, it's so valuable within the classroom environment. So if you have a look at the blocks there, a block could be a car, it could be a phone, it could be a doll's chair, it could be an ice cream shop, it could be anything you want it to be, as long as you can use your imagination and pretend. One of the other things that we love to do is have that hook, adding that wonder. And by adding that sense of wonder and that element of surprise, children become really curious. They want to know what's happening. And that helps in turn create new possibilities for learning. Now, it doesn't always have to be fully staged. It can be as simple as adding a book, adding a smell into the environment, having a photograph, a letter. It could be anything to add that element of surprise and wonder, because that really does start that discussion, provoke those new ideas, and really inspire interest. One of my favourite recent hooks was from this picture here. You may not have known, but there was an escaped zebra from Dubai Safari Park. It was all over the news. And actually, the escaped zebra made its way to Heartland. And the children found some evidence of this by finding some footprints, some leaves that have been eaten. And actually, the one main area that really hooked the children to this learning was zebra poo. Hard zebra poo, and the children's interest and excitement and engaging was just so fantastic to see. And that led on the story looking at different types of poo, why the poo got hard, and what types of animals make big poos, small poos. So you've got all of that learning with poo. And it was fantastic to see that learning with the children. I think it's really important actually to know it's not about you. And I know as a teacher, you spend a lot of time planning and thinking about things and looking for ideas and looking at Pinterest, but the environment should really respond to your children's needs and their desires and their interests. And that is the key to effective learning. You know your class, you know them really well, and every year the children change. So you have to generate those new ideas. You can't just have the same thing every year to suit all the children. It's got to be interesting for your particular children at that point in time. Now, children's interests usually fall into 4 categories. So you have interests about themselves, the natural world, the local environment, and the world of fantasy and make-believe, which I think is one of my favourite areas. I think it's important that we do consider challenge to be able to stretch the children and introduce those challenges. I think is really important. Teachers' challenges can provide that additional interest for the children, can really help stretch the children's capabilities. And I think sometimes children will choose that easier option if it's just given to them. So by giving them that challenge, and that challenge is for all children, it's not set for a particular group or a particular child, that is open for all. So that's really, really key. And I think through your careful observations, you'll find those opportunities to introduce challenge in your own environment and to work with those children really carefully. And challenge can be just through questioning. It doesn't have to be by providing a different resource or different question. You can actually just talk to them and extend their thinking. Now, before I finish this presentation, I wanted to share with you a fantastic audit, and it's actually by Pete Morehouse. Now, you may remember Pete from our last webinar, and he is absolutely amazing, and he was talking about woodwork in the early years, and he was an artist in residence. And Pete has actually created, for me, it's one of the best audits that I've seen, and it's looking at all the areas of learning, but it's focusing on the indoor environment, the outdoor environment, but also the emotional environment. And I think that is the key. It's the emotional environment for the children. And I think especially after COVID, when the children were being homeschooled, coming back into the environment with all those changes, we need to really consider the child's emotional environment. One of the things I think is really interesting that we do need to look at is looking at the amount of light and the noise factors. For example, this audit starts looking at well-being. Then it looks at the indoor environment and followed by the outdoor environment. And it's so important to consider how the children can be consulted in this. So this audit isn't just for you to do when the children go home. No, it's for you to do with the children. And that's really important. One of my favourite top tips that I received, I think it was from Jeanette Basson-Wood, was actually getting down to a child's level and looking at the room from a child's point of view. So yes, getting down on your hands and knees and actually looking around and seeing, what does it look like for a child? That display may look great for me up high, but actually the child can't access it. What does it look like for them? Do they just see legs and tables? What do they actually see? What does the learning look like from a child's point of view? So for me, this audit is key because it will really help you plan those next steps in creating that inspiring learning environment. I will send that link on the feed today, and I'll put it onto the Padlet page as well so that you can download that. And it's a free download from Pete. And it really, really, really has made a difference to our learning within the Heartland environment. Well, I hope you enjoyed that presentation from Heartland International School. The video will be available for you as well after the conference. And I think it's really important now for you to reflect and think about, okay, what can I do? What one area can I work on? And I think the most important thing, I think from my team especially, is this focus on one area at a time. And that's really key. I think sometimes we become overwhelmed and we pull everything out and we change everything in one go. And that's just so overwhelming. We need to actually bring it back and actually think about one area. Watch the children playing in that area. How are they using that area? What parts are they using well? And then reflect with the children and then plan those next steps to start area by area. So now we're going to go to a break. And I'm looking at the times now, so we're doing really well for time. So we've got a 15-minute break, and I hope you've got your croissant and coffee ready for you. And then after your break, you have your recorded workshops. So that's from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, and for you to select. Now on your programme, the links are there for the workshops. Please can I ask that during the workshop, when you're writing your notes, add anything onto the Padlet page, and at the end of the day, we're going to review that together. And then we can save that and then send that out to everybody. But I hope you enjoyed that session. Enjoy your coffee, and I will see you soon. So the next live session is with Judith Twani at 11:15. I'm going to leave the Zoom link open, and that's really key. And then we can answer any questions afterwards. So if at any point you get stuck or you get lost and you can't remember where you are or what you're doing, come back into the Zoom and you'll see, it's break time. I know what I'm doing now. So enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much.